Okay, welcome back. This is Sue with Get Sold, and I'm with my buddy Twyla. And we're having some wild communications. Soul 2K was with us, but he really is not feeling well with his arm. I almost think his bone might be bruised or something. That's kind of what I'm getting intuitively. I don't know, because it looks a little more swollen than it should be. So he was really struggling there. So I sent him off with his new Pokemon cards. So we'll do more with him when he's feeling a little better. So anyways, go ahead. We were
So we
jamming.
were talking about, I forget what we were talking about. This just like
The
left me.
hardship of being a human being,
Oh yeah.
all the stuff that we have to go through, and we like we get brainwashed into thinking spiritual stuff is weird and stupid and woo-woo, yet it is exactly who we are in a body. And there's so many different things that affect us from the human perspective, spiritually, emotionally. Like, we have emotions for a reason. That's literally what you get when you get in a body. And it's to help you go through karma and things like that. It's a tool. It's how we're built. And so there's all these things we get plunked, in this world. We forget everything. And then we have a power structure working against us, right? If it wasn't
Oh
bad
yeah.
enough, in that forest, we've got archers at any moment trying to take us out. So it's like,
Oh yeah.
how is
And
that
because
fair?
we shine so brightly, we attract things that want to take what we have and um use it for whatever
These,
stuff.
yeah,
Just I
these are
don't
the
even know what to call it. It's
I
not even like
know.
yeah, they want it because it'll make them more powerful and able to do more of what they want. And not that necessarily it's going to be used specifically for like evil deeds or wrongdoing, but we shine so brightly in so many different aspects of our life that when we do come in contact with hitchhikers, we'll call them, or beings that want to piggyback off of our energy, or even other humans, I mean energy vampires.
Oh man, I tell you what, when we do our conversations, Soul to K and I, we can talk, you and I, here, because we're adults, and my mission is not his mission. So
Right.
some of the stuff we've talked about, he will list the numbers of the demons, like 0075 point blah blah blah, and I'm just like, and he's not afraid. He's totally, there's no fear there because he understands the system.
Yeah.
And I mean, the stuff, I'm like blown away, but everything that we're talking about here is what he's already privy to, and it comes out of an 8-year-old mouth. And it's like, how are you not afraid of this stuff? Oop. Are you still with me?
i,
Can you still see me?
I am. Yep.
Or, okay,
I,
yeah, my computer just did brought up the other recording. Okay, good. I'm good. Um, yeah, so I think we have to find ways of sharing that with people who maybe, and I don't know who our audience is just yet. I really don't. I think right now we're just, getting it out there, and then what happens, happens. But whether we're getting newbies, whether we're getting people who kind of support what we do and they know it, but are just like, yeah, yeah, I don't know. But in any event, the thing I keep saying about myself, because I rather use, our experiences to share with people, is when I recently really, really realized that so much of my suffering in my life was caused from a lot of these hitchhikers. And I didn't know it. I did not know it. So I lived more depressed than not, had diagnoses up the yin yang of this, that, and the other thing. And I've been watching YouTube videos on different personality stuff, like borderline personality disorder, all these different things. And I'm like, I have a bit of that, bit of that, bit of that, bit of that. And I was just watching a girl on what was it called? Yeah, covert borderline personality disorder. And I'm just thinking, how much of it is really how we were programmed to be on Earth? Like, what did we pick in our contract that our body is going to be? How much of it is skewed by toxins that we're taking into our bodies? How much of it is influenced by the I will versus the I am, meaning those
yep.
entities we're talking about? We're like, oh, there's some dark energy, there's some depression. Let me just piggyback on that and enjoy that for a while, for a while. And it gets overwhelming. I mean, I see people around me who are being usurped by these things, and I'm doing what I can now that I'm aware of it. But we all have free will. So I keep asking the question, if we have free will, does that mean we have to say, I need help before we can get help? Or can we assist from knowing it and just trying to appeal to those greater than us to, push that unconditional love and try to get those things away from. I have a particular person in my life like this who is being affected, but I can't, say any more than that. But Soul 2K told me this person is being affected by 5 negative entities that are fighting for this person's soul. And I was just
Oh yeah.
like, oh my God. But I can't have him say that, because then it sounds like he's being negative, like spreading fear. And that's not his mission. He's got to empower it every turn. And as he just said before we recorded, he's got a shield around him at all times for that reason, so that he can do his job and not be tripped up all the time.
But I think that's kind of a lesson, or well, let me rephrase that. I know that's a lesson in unconditional love, like that for everything you just said. That's the lesson in unconditional love. And if we are able to unconditionally love ourselves, then we're able to unconditionally love the people around us. And when that happens, that creates its own almost like shield itself that then can push other things out that are from the darker realms, the darker places of existence, and those lower vibrational frequencies. And it's really important to know that we are not only just powerful on our own, but together we're twice as powerful. And when we can reach out and be confident in ourselves and our ability to push that love and light out so strongly,
Yeah.
we make huge waves that make massive change, and B, we almost eradicate and transmute those darker negative energies that want to take what we have. They don't want us to do that. That's the point. The point is to keep us down and keep our vibrations down, to keep us in those darker spaces, that then creates a world that is more inhabitable and easily more accessible to those things.
It's just, I guess, from my perspective, because now that I'm super uber aware of it, it's like being affected. I don't want to ever use the word attacked, because we know that's not the case. Everything's by soul contract. But both on a human physical level and on a spiritual level, we're being challenged and tested, you know? It's like that's where it really hit home with me, that all these years that I was taking medication, all these years that I was, you know, in my own way, and really, nobody knew what to do for me. I had to figure it out. It was a lot of these entities and a lot of, my own thought processes, all the physiological stuff was screwed up from birth on. I get that. I've been working on that part of it. But then to find out recently that how long that I have been piggybacked on,
Yep.
energy drained and all that stuff. I think the point was to get it through my head that ADHD or not, there are practices you need to do if you want your personal sovereignty, whether it be in the spiritual world or the human world. And the sovereignty part is your power. That's who you are. That's like everything that you are is your
Yep.
sovereignty. And as we're seeing now in our country, in our world, we're finally of the age, the enlightened age, where we are starting to understand that. We're starting to come out of the dark and understand all the different ways that we've lost our sovereignty, that we've given our power away, whether it's in your individual life. I thought
Exactly.
before like 2019, my biggest thing was getting out of my own way. Like, oh
Yep.
man, this. And then when that year hit, and we were some of the new wave of people to, conspiracy theories and all that stuff, to hear all that stuff, Ingrid woke me up, the particular video.
Yeah.
And I went downhill, man. I ate my way through all of my darkness. I'm just like, food, 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 food. I can't deal with this. I did, but I'm just saying that it was all of a sudden it was about me. It wasn't about me anymore. I was like small potatoes compared to, you and everybody else in the world
Yep.
that we were joined together, that we're going through this together. Suddenly it wasn't about me. It was about, oh no, what are you going through now that's, either worse than or equal to what I'm going through. So that was a good thing, kind of like, because then I started to see it wasn't just me that was working through damages or, dysfunction and all
Right.
that stuff. So that was,
Exactly. And a lot of the darker hitchhikers and things that we may pick up, they're not, there's nothing to be afraid of. If you are giving them fear, that's giving them more power over you. And you you are your power, and that those things are there for lessons. We have to learn from these things. These things are trying to teach us a lesson, and like
mm-hmm,
for us to understand our own strength and our own abilities, our own powers to bring in certain frequencies, light waves, um, guides, angels, different beings, and even having our ancestors come in.
oh
Um,
yeah,
there's not every ancestor is gonna have your best interest at heart. That's not necessarily something that I think a lot of people think about, but it really is important to be aware of the feelings you're getting, to ask yourself questions. Do I feel like this is a good person? Do I feel like this is a good entity? Do I feel like I'm being lied to or manipulated in some way? Do I feel like I'm being tricked? Do I feel like they have my highest good as their main purpose? And that's kind of gonna shift a whole lot for a lot of people. And I don't think necessarily that, you know, negativity is negativity, but also negativity can be too much free will and knowledge, and we forget that.
yeah.
And we have to stand our ground in certain aspects, and
The
we all forget that.
Yeah, the other thing that I guess from the childhood thing was when you grow up feeling like you're always bad, and then you do your shadow work and you realize, no, it was where I was pulling from because I was brainwashed to think that I'm really not bad, but there are aspects to me that will always be there as dark because that's how we are. That's how we were made. And that's the whole integration process. That's the whole reason why those things are there, those, entities and whatnot, um, to make us sort out the difference. Like how it's like the uncle thing. Oh my God, when are you done suffering? When you're finally going, Uncle, Uncle, help me, help me. And then you start to get inklings, and then you start, but it's almost like you cannot get there unless you ask to some degree. Because when you
Right.
ask, then it's like things start to move around. You start to get a little lighter. You start to, hear something, and everybody's, oh my God, what did I just hear? What did I just hear? Um, so it's our dreams, all these different ways they're trying to get through us. The angel numbers, 222, 777. It's like people are like, why do I see that? I hate to say the word Google it, but sometimes you do have to Google it, and then find a different find a different search engine for the truth. But oh, did I? Quite, I don't.
Absolutely. But also, um, we have the ability to answer all of our questions. And if we can't find those things within ourselves, we can ask to have them sent to us. And I think a lot of beings forget that we might not have the how to, but we know the where to start and the
Yeah,
end we want to be at.
yeah.
But we also forget that if we can't find the answers on our own, we can ask to be shown it. And someone will come into our life that will have that knowledge. We'll see a video, we'll hear a song that, will resonate with us, or an image that will resonate with us that's really like, huh,
Yeah, yeah. You're like, wait, I was just thinking of
okay.
that. Yep, yep, yep.
um even our animals, like
Oh,
our pets. I think a lot of spiritual beings to an extent forget that our pets may be pets right now, but they have also at some point been where we are.
mm-hmm.
um and this is, you know, a tool that we can use. Like, so for an example, um one of my cats, he's a very, very old being, and he is a little more enlightened than I am. And sometimes I will ask him for some guidance and he will let me know. And he lets me know in a way that can't be ignored.
Right, right.
And there are times when maybe I asked for some help or knowledge or guidance and I wasn't expecting it, but he will be in my face and I'm like, oh, okay. I see what's going on here. I
Yep.
forgot that that was like a possibility. And um, it really, it's very interesting to see that animals, nature, and different energies, they'll really come to you when you're asking for help. And it's not necessarily being in tune to it, it's not ignoring it.
What I learned years ago was that the cat, when he or she sits on your lap, they go in the reverse order of your chakra, like in that solar plexus area. And so they help neutralize any distress. And I had my beautiful little Tabby, she would do that. I would have a fit. I'd start hollering. This was way back when everything was chaotic in my head, my life, whatever. And I'd start hooting and hollering, and everybody'd be like, boo, out of the room. And she would come right towards me and get on my lap. And then before
Yep.
long, I was like, oh, and she would just do that little thing, like they look like they're trying to find a comfortable place to sit on you, but they're
Yeah.
literally using their energy to restore yours. And we don't
Yeah.
think of those things. Like we're not taught to think of those things or to
We
know them.
don't. Even okay, so an example, lizards. I don't know why this is coming to me now, so I'm just gonna
Ooh,
say it.
here
But
we
so
go.
lizards, they crawl on you. They move the energy in and about you into, it's kind of like direction. They direct it all. And if you notice, they always go into the heart space.
Oh,
Always in the
nice.
chest, up the arm, up the other arm. They pull it all in for you. And that's really grounding. It's like
Wow.
they're little grounders, little grounders. They
I never
just
thought of it
ground you.
with that. It took me a while to get used to Jamie's